Now, I thought it'd be cool just to pull out some quotes from some of these leading thinkers. Ludwig von Mises: human action is purposeful behavior. Okay, so basically economics isn't numbers. It's actually understanding goal-driven choices. Think about this. Like, how does that flip this concept of the rational actor? To me, at least, it's so fun because it's a process of reasoning. It's not a process of like, let's try and use as many statistical models to prove this hypothesis to be true. So no, mate, humans are completely inconsistent. One minute they'll be happy, the next they'll be angry. They're going to make different economic decisions in those two different mindsets. Don't even try and guess what they're going to do from a kind of scientific perspective. It's like, think about what they want, understand the incentive, and then you'll get there. I love that. Human action is purposeful behavior. So Friedrich Hayek: the curious task of economics is to demonstrate to men how little they really know about what they imagine they can design. How cool is that? Basically warning against hubris. Like, who thinks that, like, oh yeah, we're going to organize this stimulus package and it's going to be perfect for everyone? So that's bullshit. You have absolutely no idea what that's going to actually do to the real economic choices of people on the street. So don't even try and claim to say that you can. And my spin on that is basically humility beats top-down control every single time. Quote number 3. So Murray Rothbard: it is no crime to be ignorant of economics, which is, after all, a specialized discipline. But it is totally irresponsible to have a loud and vociferous opinion on economic subjects whilst remaining in this state of ignorance. Kind of amusing, right? It's essentially challenging the blind faith we have in politics and politicians. The latest chancellor will be appointed his position or her position, but what do they know? Oh, don't worry, guys, trust the experts. And almost always it leads to more money printing and more trust the experts. So where does that really, ultimately help me reflect? It's like, what economic opinions do you hold? And perhaps it's time to question them. Now, quote number 4, finally, Carl Menger: value does not exist outside the consciousness of man. Whoa. It's quite powerful, that, isn't it? It really ties back to this idea of subjectivity. Now, in my case, I'm investing my own money. It's like, where am I wrong? Where am I right? And how do I want to show up in the world every day? And what are the values that I hold and the ethics that I have and the self-image of the future me? How does this all blend together to make decisions? And how do I make superior decisions? And even tie in energetics and universal law. And so much of this all comes through because it's like, a horse doesn't understand prices. And I don't know why I even thought of a horse, but like, other mammals, they don't get it. Other reptiles, they don't get it. Other plants, they don't get it. Like the mycelium world, mushrooms, they don't get it. Value does not exist outside the consciousness of men. And, just really, it's time to seriously question things. Like, why is it that inequality is at an all-time high in terms of wealth gap? Why is it that the gold price is running like it is? Why is it that Bitcoin's bashing through all-time highs? Why is it that the stock market is at all-time highs? Why is it that they're cutting interest rates? Why is it that debt to GDP ratios are so unbelievably high? This is the back end of half a century of extraordinary credit expansion based on no real value tied to that. And so what we see in the economy today, it's not where I see things going, and why leverage on Bitcoin is so interesting, is it's commodity-based credit. And it will always tie back to Bitcoin as the underlying asset. And this is what used to happen with gold, right? But they removed the peg to gold and we went pure fiat. So what that became is just circulating credit. It's as good as they claim it to be until it's not. And the way that a bank can leverage itself, like I read yesterday that Bear Stearns was leveraged something like 35 to 1 when it went bankrupt. And supposedly the regulation is that a bank can do 10 to 1. And so these banks are out there behaving poorly, and they know They know that the moral hazard they've regulated into their system is that they get a bailout, right? That's what the global financial crisis taught all of us, is that the banks got saved and the average person on the street got screwed. And that's how the system functions. So the more we can learn about alternatives to the system that we were given, the better. That's what sound money is. That's what Bitcoin is. But equally, the more we learn about the fiat system itself, the more that we can go and exploit it. I'm not talking about doing illegal things, but you can make better choices. And without Austrian School of Economics as a lens on the world, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing. I wouldn't see value in Bitcoin if I didn't understand what sound money is. And the day that penny dropped, my life completely changed.